Oh, hello there. My name is Rebecca Seward. I'm from the University of Derby in England, in the United Kingdom. I've been using Leslie Powell and Simon McGrath's work for quite some time. My research is in the area of vocational education, and in particular aspirations of adult women learners in the further education sector in England. When I first came to my study, I was looking for an approach that was both person-centred and that focused on individual agency as well as structure, on that enabled an analysis and an evaluation of what was important to individuals to have lead meaningful lives. And so I came to the capabilities approach more broadly in educational terms, and in particular much of the work reflected higher education, but there's been a small pocket of work in this area that has focused on using the capabilities approach as an alternative lens, if you like, for looking at what's important to people, what they get out of education beyond human capital and economic development. So it takes very much a person-centred approach. So I've been following Leslie and Simon's work and the work of others that are also contributing to this field. And one of the first papers that I read of theirs, which really resonated with me, was their paper on which this book is based on, was their call for us to reimagine vocational education, in new ways. And although England has got a slightly different system, we have similar problems of things not necessarily working for everybody, and in particular for those that are more marginalised in society. So I found the capabilities approach through reading theory and through the work of Simon and Leslie. And in particular, what the book does, which much of the capabilities theorising in broad educational terms gives, is it takes the theory, which is essentially what a person has reason to value being and doing, and capabilities lists as a way of evaluating that. But because the concepts of capabilities are a little bit slippery and difficult to operationalise, which is what much of the researchers and theoretical work in this area people are finding, is it's strengthened the case by using Margaret Archer's critical realism. And although in my own work I use a different theoretical framework for explaining individuals' decisions and for strengthening the capabilities approach, I use Nancy Fraser. The work of Leslie and Simon in particular have foregrounded this using a capabilities approach within the VET context, and using it in a way that enables you to strengthen it by using additional theories and to contextualize it based on what your research is about, who the individuals you are researching, and the specific context. So in my own context, I've used the capabilities approach and Nancy Fraser and feminist economics, as well as aspirations theories, which are very closely related to Sen's work on capabilities, to strengthen the gender focus and the focus on aspirations. And in my own work, the learners that I've interviewed and have been part of my study, many of them suffer migration, poverty, lack of education, lack of opportunity for education in the way some of the cases do in the book that relates to a specifically entirely different context. So it really has resonated with me in multiple ways, in that you can take a broad theory like this and you can use it to not only bring up the voices of those who education is for and the training and the work is for, but in addition to that, it gives them a platform, and it gives you a lens to evaluate how, not only what education they're getting and what opportunities they're getting, but how they're able to convert them and use them beyond just education and work. It looks at other enablers to their lives that enable them to live rich and flourishing lives. Not always, and there are very difficult cases outlined in the book, as there are, which echoes some of my own work. But it really gets to the heart of the complex lives that students lead, and the kind of education and the kind of system that they need in order to flourish, and the ways in which they can use education. So that really spoke to me. And one particular aspect of this work that really speaks to me, aside from capabilities and the capabilities list, which are very useful indicators, but the discussion on the multidimensional nature of poverty beyond economic and material well-being is really, I see, as something at the heart of a lot of work in education, but in this field in particular. It looks beyond this very straightforward notion of education for work. It looks to the whole person's life to see which ways they are suffering from well-being poverty. So I found that particularly useful, and that's something that I've focused on in my own work, but in relation to gender and the nature of paid and unpaid caring work, and the nature of oppression in relationships, the nature of agency and choices that women have to lead the life they have reason to value. So it really has been instrumental in helping me, the earlier work, and it's brilliant to see this now as a mainstream book, so that people can use these ideas and hopefully they'll gain momentum in the field and encourage policymakers and other researchers to use these really socially just tools that just give a really person-centered approach, which I've particularly benefited from. It is flexible, and it's something that, that through Leslie and Simon's work and the work of others has given me the confidence to say, yes, okay, well, capabilities, it's some of the concepts are slippery, so look for other theories to give a more concrete theory of social justice, which is what I've done, and I know others have done. So thank you.